So, so you have an idea for a webcomic, and you're feeling capable to make it. Well, so am I. The best perks of posting a comic online is that posting is free, and nearly anyone can see, and who the fluffernuggets knows how far it can grow to be. On Webtoon specifically, I have 6 series because I have a writing problem and I'm still learning how to draw. Webtoons is a free public posting platform where you can watch and read webcomics from around the world, but mostly based from South Korea. To start a Webtoon, simply hit that publish button and create a series. Webtoon has a huge catalog of content and genres. Be sure to look at which ones suit your comic idea best. And for mine, right now I'm going to make a comedy fantasy about a D&D inspired creation called Bananarama. The cover image and title and synopsis are pretty important as they're the first things readers see that gives them a glimpse of what to expect. So you don't want to derail their expectations by either having an S-tier cover and art but having a comic that does not reflect that at all, or a description that describes nothing about the characters, chapters, or story. You don't have to explain the entire plot either. Let's look at some of my old webtoons for reference. That Noise is a short story horror comic about rabbits, and it simply reads, after being forced to relocate, a rabbit colony finds that their new home comes with new terrors. It's a short story I didn't continue because I didn't like my art skill at the moment, and I made one small writing mistake that made me feel very incompetent as a writer. And so I'm turning it into a small book. Another past failure, even worse this time, as this synopsis is absolute trash, as it's too long and way too exposition-y, giving away things that are supposed to be learned, with the plot could be summed up into 2 sentences, but instead I chose this gobbledygook. And this was before I even tried to learn how to draw. So I highly recommend having at least 3 chapters ready and your art style nailed down before publishing. Once you have your title and description down, you could draw or edit your cover. Webtoons displays 2 cover photos. One square at 1080-1080 and a vertical one at 1080-1920. JPEG and PNG works as input formats for Webtoons. I usually go with JPEGs because they come with less data. And for drawing software, I use Clip Studio, where you can start a webcomic style documents from a list of all these different illustrations, or just set the custom page layouts to make a Webtoon page and set as many pages as you want, as you can freely edit the size of each page individually to suit your needs. When drawing the panels of the comic, I like to work on at least 5 to 10 panels at once. A singular page is 800 wide by 1280 tall. You can increase the length by page, but you cannot change the girth. After reading literally thousands of webcomics, a problem I often see is that things are made too small. Either the words are made too tiny, the images are made too tiny. Know that webcomics are not like traditional comics, not even like manga. The less compact they are, the better. The format goes top to bottom, not right to left, not left to right. It is a scroll downwards. This is why larger panels are used for dramatic effect. It is the online version of the page turn. So, I constantly zoom in and out to make sure that my ideas, drawings, and words that I want conveyed get conveyed. Pacing is key to your story structure. I normally write out the dialogue first and do a really rough sketch to get a sense of the pacing and how long the document's going to be. For Bananarama, I'm sketching first and using the background as a narrative element as well, as Rama is a drawn banana, but there's a running skit that he dreams that he is a real banana. So whenever that happens, the entire format kind of shifts. And there's many ways to play with the formatting to make your webtoon more dynamic. But once you're done drawing and writing and coloring and editing, you can export it. Normally I export it as a whole JPEG, no matter how long the page is, because Webtoons has this new implementation where they slice up the upload into individual pages themselves. But not all webcomic platforms are like this, so take note of this. But I do like to keep the comic stripped in one image to input it in things like other sites, like Tumblr. But before you upload it and publish it, be sure to preview it in both the mobile and PC to get a good look of how it looks on both platforms, and check for little errors like minor drawing mistakes and spelling mistakes. And then bam, you've published a webtoon. Now the hard part begins, which is the consistency of maintaining the story and keeping up the webtoon. Which is why I like to say, before you publish the first chapter, have at least 5 chapters ready, and maybe the entire first season planned out, at least roughly, before you publish. Because the consistency in maintaining the workload of making a comic is harder than starting the comic, depending on the comic that you make.